All right. All right. Thank you so much. If you're here, God bless you so much. We're just going to start. I believe it's better now. Yeah, the network buys 100%. I think we're going to start. All right. So, thank you so much, everybody, once again for joining. Let me do a brief introduction as to the idea of Tuesday Design Live. Um, the idea is I've been posting YouTube for a while and I've been having the idea of doing live. I did one live class a couple months back, I think last year. Sef. I can't remember when it was, but I know it was like months back. So the idea of live is to connect and communicate with you guys. You're going to be doing a lot of design reviews. I've seen that in my comment section a lot. Design reviews. I've seen things like you walk through as to how I come up with my ideas, how you work on brand guides. Then this one nobody sent me, but I want to be doing critiques as well as um on the Go class. Then I also want to answer your question live. You understand? So for now, the structure is still all over the place, but it's basically a way to connect with you and see how we can grow together. I I I don't necessarily want to believe that I'm the best designer in the world because I've met amazing designers from my community. Now, let me let you guys in on something. If you actually look, if you actually try to find, you see my phone number and you reach out to me. And there have been some people that have reached out to me, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and I've been blessed by them. You understand? In as much as we give out, we still see how we can help receive from as many as we can. Now, another thing I'm going to talk about is on this live, there are some days where we would have some of us join the live. You get so if that's something you're interested in, you want to join the live with me, maybe we discuss. Now, um this is me telling you if you want to join the live, get the 5G router because without it, you can't. I don't know, Sha. I don't know how good your network is. Yeah. So get a 5G router, get your Fiber X, get your Starlink. You get after I'm going to buy Starlink because can't be joking. Amen. All right. So for today's class, I want to know that you guys are actually hearing me. I'm watching this live through my phone as I'm live, and I'm seeing that it is seamless. So I just want to confirm from your end. I'm seeing things like rebuke bad network. Amen. In Jesus' name. Men mount. Amen. All right. Are you hearing me? Did you hear all that I just said as to an introduction to what Tuesday Design Live is? All right. You heard all the explanation. You heard everything I said. Please, we need more of comments. I'm saying that there are 4 people on the live. If you heard me, you heard all the explanation I gave, let me know you heard all the explanation. Also, do all to like the live. You get do all to like, share it. That's another thing too. Thank you very much, Kev Naya. Share the live. All right. Thank you very much. Prevail Studios. I really love your name. God's Prevail. Yeah. All right. So share the live. You have design communities that you need them to join. You have friends that are designers. Today's class, I think everybody's going to benefit from it. Yes, I have. Let me know overhype it so that in case it doesn't meet your expectation, but I think it will meet your expectation. You really love what I have in store for you today. Okay, so let's just wait a bit. Again, apologies that we didn't start as at when due. This is 40 minutes in. That this is not even African man time. This is I don't know what to call it, man. This is deep in the Africa. All right. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to share my screen now so that we can commence the live. All right. So here's what we're going to do for today's class. We're going to basically look through some design agencies, and I've had the opportunity to study some of their processes, and we're basically just going to go through them. And the reason why I'm doing this is I teach designers as much as I can. I have discussions with designers, and then you see you're a brand designer. That's why I'm starting off with this because as we go on in the class, I'm going to be making a lot of these references. I'm going to be sorry for that. I'm going to be making a lot of these references. I'll be like, oh, did you see what Koto put out today? You see what Anagramma put out today? You don't. There's no award for following all the studios in the world, but at least let it be that you have you're not just doing things in your silos and just only learning from Nigerian designers and following one account on Instagram. No, 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 no. That's not how you grow as a designer. That's not how you are updated. It's not just only by using AI to see what the world is doing. So we're going to be looking at some of these design studios, both internationally and locally. So we're going to look at them. I'm going to explain the processes behind some of the case studies that we're going to look at today, and hopefully it blows your mind because it does blow people's mind when I explain to them people's creative process. So first of all, I want to give shout out to Abdul Salamid, I think, but there's this guy on YouTube, sorry, on Instagram. I found him on Instagram. I actually on an award website for and he's a Nigerian. You get so he's one of his designs won an award, and then I had to go and look for him. I saw him on Twitter, I followed him, and I went to find him on Instagram. I'm going to try. I think what I'm going to do is to put his handle on the comment section. So let me get it. So I'm going to put his handle on the comment section. Just a little bit of shout out. If you get his handle, so his name is Abdul Samad. So do well to reach out to Abdul Samad and tell him a huge thank you and say, oh, Increase will tell you thank you. And the reason why I'm saying we should tell him thank you is because he created this website and I've been looking for something like this. I've had it in mind to do, but I've not done it. You get so this website is basically a collection 221 studios across 8 disciplines in 34 countries for every specialty. You get so if the live is hanging, please let me know. I'm just going to turn on my um yeah. So that is what this website is basically about. So unfortunately, the agency we're going to start with today is not here, and it's the agency. I found it by watching a course on I think Domestika or Udemy. The name of the agency is Johnson Banks. And so here's the Johnson Banks website. Yeah. So this is an OG in design. And I'm just going to talk about some of his projects and some of the ideas behind the project because he explained it when I watched the course, and hopefully that helps your creative process and every other thing. So let us start with this project right here. We're just going to go through it. It's going through a case study. Appeal is a Manchester-based humanitarian NGO that has been in existence for 25 years and has strong links with the Muslim. This is a Muslim brand. Now, a brief intro to what the agency is about. There's a way he puts it in his course that they build good brands for people doing good work all over the world. You understand? So you're doing like something humanitarian, something helping people basically. So they are into that schools, NGOs, governmental organizations, health organizations that are there to help people. So that is their niche. And so they're still putting out good work till today. The agency is not yet closed. It's still alive and active. It's run by Mr. Michael Johnson. Yeah, I think call him the MG of design. He's really good at what he does. And so um, they'd been running for 25 years strong, and the organization's aim was to revitalize their brand in a way that would allow them broaden their humanitarian work appeal to secular audiences without alienating the historical supporter base. In our discussion, it seemed that what they do, reacting immediately to reacting immediately to humanitarian emergencies, restored shattered lives, and reinforcing communities could be our viral hook. You understand? But as the project progressed, it became clear that we should take our step from their name to drive the core narrative. In increasing fractured world, we are united by something powerful, our common humanity. We sprang from Okay, so basically, this is the conversation that they had. You get so sometimes it's hard for me to read and understand exactly immediately, but I watched the video where he explained the idea behind it, and so he said their focus was on doing something that was typography based, and then they wanted to do a symbol that from a far distance somebody could easily remember or see the logo and identify it. You get so these were their sketches. These were real life. So they just took a picture of real life sketches, and so the idea was basically H, and if they turn the H to, like, let's say 180 degrees, or if they turn the H, so right now is in vertical, if they turn it horizontally, it gives you with a circle on top, it gives you, like, the shape of a human. I think you already get the point by now. And so when they turn it, when they slant it, it's reading H as well as human. So human appeal. You understand? And now they didn't end there. They now went on to use this. So that's the thing. One thing that you could learn from these, and as we go through these agencies and their designs, is the idea of sticking to a concept. So sticking to a concept, seeing how you can exploit as much as possible. So one thing I noticed that is happening is there used to be a time, I used to talk about it then, that almost every design that is for a fintech or a tech brand had gradients. If you can remember, almost every design that was for a fintech brand or for a tech brand, gradients. Everybody wanted to kill designs with gradients. Now, we moved on to the era where it's almost as if we are in this bold, like, this kind of CUDA, this design that CUDA just released, this kind of bold era where we're just like, colorful color palettes, and then bold typography. Then there is um a very nice sans serif font for, like, the body typography. You understand? So everybody is just working off based on what is trending. And I've been a sucker for, going against that. Don't go on what is trendy. Okay, I think it was during Design Sprints, the physical event that I held in Port Harcourt, where I was talking about the fact that don't just go for what is trendy. Work with context. So you can see the context in this logo, for example. Now, there is not just the meaning in the logo, it is how the logo is going to work. So you see how that, they started with sketches of, like, box, a circle, this heart sign. I think they were trying to create the H with the heart. You understand? So that's basically the first thing that your mind goes to if you're creating a brand like this that is doing good work for, the world. You get now. They now had a sketch of a human being. They are now trying to see how they can do the H. You get then. Okay, let me just zoom in a bit. They're not trying to see how they can make this a H. You get so they now went on to this and they created the H, the actual H, and you get so that is an idea that is basically we want a logo that from 100 meters away you can see it, and we wanted something that we connect to both, you know, the name of the brand, and so that is how they landed on this human humanocentric H, that kind of thing. Let's leave it at that. Let me not bite my lips. But yeah, so stick with the idea. Now, You see how in their layout they are still working with this slanted design style. You understand? So as you keep on going, you see here for, so this is the human, that H being slanted here for every human. And one thing I really love about this design agency is that they do not just work on the visuals, they also creatively work on the messaging of the brand, not just the message the brand is trying to pass, like the actual words that they're using to pass the message. So you want to basically learn that. Please do also let me know in the comment section. I'm seeing that there are 9 people on the live, so just let me know if you're actually hearing me. Thank you very much. So just let me know. I'm hearing you. Thank you so much for the work you're doing or whatever. Thank you. Like, I don't know, just even if it's one, let me know that this live this. Let me know that my what do they call it? My YouTube is not lying to me. Sorry. All right. So they also work on the typography. So remember we talked about the fact that this is Arabic words and even of design poster. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, thank you for the you see, even in their stamps, even in the way, and I'm not gonna lie, this is a bold way to go about branding, because you're not going to see a lot of that are going to be okay with something like this, or this is the design. To lie, this is this design works for a very good pattern. So you don't have to start racking your head about thinking, oh, what's the pattern going to be like? Just the logo duplicated and repeated a couple of times can give you a very nice unique pattern. This is bold brand, and I think if you can basically explain to the clients why your ideation process, that's another thing that I believe a lot of designers need to learn. um as you keep on doing this live, hopefully, by God's grace, maybe you might have a client on the live, who knows? And yeah, I don't know if that's possible actually. But yeah, let's go to God. So this is the brand being used in real life. I think another thing that they also would work on for brands like this is their, what they call it, their imagery. So the kind of images. I think for me, what I can tell from this image is that they wanted an imagery that basically communicates that, oh, people are suffering. I don't know. But yeah, they wanted an imagery that basically communicated, the real life struggles and how that you can see. So the images are very contrasting. They are not cinematographic. I mean, they are not cinematographical images. There's a word I'm looking for. I think their vibrancy is high. You understand? All right. So you now see there's something that they mentioned in the beginning that they followed through with. They said, or that you can see in application, is they said they wanted their logos to be seen and recognized even from 100 meters. You can see in real life application. You see this logo right here. Imagine you're in an IDP camp and these people are coming. You will know it is them. They did not want all those logos that have, so they did not want a logo like this, so to say, for this brand. They did not want a logo like this. They did not want a logo like this one here, this Anthony Nolan. You get, they wanted something that was very bold and basically speaks to what the brand is about. Yeah. Let's not overflog this. Let's go to another brand. So the name of this campaign, this is more like a campaign, not necessarily a brand, is fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis. And I'm just going to try and rush over this. This is for a creative ad campaign. And so the idea of this brand, what the brand does is is a charity fund, that was created to help people that have cystic fibrosis. And so what they wanted to do with the campaign is to help people know what cystic fibrosis is. And now, okay, they didn't do a lot of those sketches, but like when I was watching the course, I saw a lot of those sketches. And so, since you want to help people understand what cystic fibrosis is, they now thought of the fact that, you know, cystic fibrosis at the end, it ends with an is. So you can use that as a conjunctional phrase to explain whatever it is or whatever message you want to carry. So when using it for designs, you can say cystic fibrosis is invisible but not invincible. And so you see how they had like these two text placeholders. So this smaller one for the cystic and this other one for the fibrous and whatever it is that you want to add, because the idea of this is to bring awareness to the topic of cystic fibrosis. I think when he started this topic, he was like, "Do you know what cystic fibrosis is? Neither do I, and neither does a lot of people." So the idea is how do we communicate to people and explain to them what cystic fibrosis is, and for them, they also wanted to use this kind of like handwriting typography to communicate that human feel to it, as to the fact that you should we're creating a fund for people, and so you see how their designs are. So there's no logo for this. You understand? The logo, I think this is just so bold and creative. When I look at the works of Michael Johnson and the work that his team is doing, I just like we're not doing as much to meet up with things like this. That's why even as old as he is, he's still getting jobs from people in government in the UK, in the US, because their thinking capability is next level. There's something he said when I was watching the course. He said, one thing we do in our studio is that we do not work with the first idea. They keep on reiterating, and I would say I'm also guilty of working with the first idea, because one thing I've also noticed is if you if you leave the first idea and think of creating something else, what happens is when you've decided on the idea that you're working with, you can now piggyback of the rest of the other ideas that you had in mind in the first place. So you see how this is being used to expand. So you see that human feel, instead of using a box, they now basically use. So this is them even stretching the idea. So the human feels something. It's not just something they just use and they're like, that thing we do where we make a design decision and look for, then now send it to ChatGPT to back up the reason behind why we are doing what we are doing. You get? So that's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to work with the brief in order to make you decide whatever it is that you want for the brand, and then use design to solve it. So the human feel idea, you see it being applied here with the use of like sketch marks to create a bounding box for like the text, and this is it being printed. Cystic fibrosis is a life. So amount of things that you can do. So there's this video on their website as well. Um, so you see the use of sketches. So it didn't just end in the text as well. It extended to their illustration style as well as their motion design style. See, I think this is just so amazing. And yeah, let's some of these projects need serious funding for them to be executed the way it is. Not the kind of project that you would just do logo for and then the motion designer has done something a whole lot different. And I really do okay, yeah. This motion design was created by the agency itself, so it was the animated video by the agency. Because I've actually seen some of the brands that Michael Johnson has done that is being bastardized by the current designers. I think one of the brands is no, let me I don't think that's something I'll show you guys. All right, we're going to step a bit of the works of Michael Johnson. Also, in case you want to get access to this website, I'm just going to copy it and paste it on the chat. So do all to access it. Right. Okay, so unfortunately I can't be able to share it to you. But what I'll do is how do I do this now? I can't be able to share the website to you. How do I share it to you? Very helpful. This 221 design agencies. And so we're going to be picking one agency from our very own Nigeria. The name of the agency is Benrose. And when people meet me, I tell them that this agency changed my life. It changed the way I think about branding because I watched a video of them on YouTube. So let me. All right. So this is the place I watched a video, and this is another place where you can see a lot of, you know, brand design works. People coming to talk about their work. Right now I'm in Port Harcourt. I'm even considering doing something like this, but I don't accomplish this. But yeah, I watched this video, and my life did not remain the same. Where's the video? So this video from Belos are finally good enough where they explain their brand process. And there are a couple of YouTube channels like this that you can be watching to see to see the brain behind the work that they do. You understand? So, but if you come to this YouTube channel, title is it's the huddle. You can search for the huddle, you're going to see them. You want for is the huddle because if you search for the huddle, you're going to see these other guys. They are the huddle, the DC huddle. So if you search for it's the huddle, you're going to see them. Now let's go back to our bellows. Now, they are a very amazing brand agency in Nigeria. I think people in my agency they help me a lot because I follow bellows a lot and I talk about them. Yeah. So they have some projects that are still coming soon. When they publish this project, I really loved this project. I really, really love this project. But this is the one they talked about that actually made me start thinking about design in a different way. So they talked about in that YouTube channel I just showed you guys now. Now, the one I'm going to talk about, so they also worked on Zap as well for Paystar, is Sporting Lagos. Sporting Lagos. So if you're in Lagos, you probably know Sporting Lagos. It's owned by this person that owns Paystack. Yeah. All right. So moving into it, Sporting Lagos, it's a football club in Lagos. I'm not going to rush. Let me not rush. Let me not rush. I'm not going to explain the idea of the brand design that was done to you guys. So first of all, there's supposed to be an explanation. Okay, it's always been about community and the shared joy for years. The structure around football itself haven't reflected the people who give it life. It's been lacking in the vibrancy and culture. Basically, the club's idea is to have a football club, that brings people together. I hope I'm not bastardizing it at this point, but like they're lovers of football. Let's have a community that help Lagosians. You get show up in viewing centers and all those kind of things. You get a football club was founded in 2020. Roads, stories, and communities of Lagos would come translate this goal into visuals, Ben Lobos was invited to articulate greets and pause. So we began with the simple idea all road leads here. And so thread, the idea of Sporting Lagos was to create a community that help people who love football to come together and have a community around football basically, and basically see how they can converse and progress and share what they love. And so the creative concept, I mean the creative anchor, was all road leads here. And so the idea is that, okay, you're a football lover, no matter where you this is where I understand it though, no matter who you are, so long as you're a football lover, we are creating a community that you can all come to. And so that's the idea all road leads here. I don't know if there is a pictorial view of how they came about with the logo, but oh, you get, so these are two lanes, two lanes, two lanes. So let's say this is a flyover, another flyover beneath, and this is like the ground. You understand? So in the middle, let's say a drone had taken a picture, you see all the roads leading to this complex point in the middle. So the idea was, road maps, you get. So they're still working with the creative anchor of all road leads here, and that's how they came about with the logo. Now for the typography, they wanted to work with, because you see on a plate number. So let me search for a plate number so that you see it. So you see a plate number. All right. So you see this kind of typography. I think either they created it or they used the exact typography that is being used for plate number. So let's, one thing that'll make me know if they copied it is the W. The W is in a certain way. All right, I don't think you can see that. But yeah, even if they didn't, use the same font, okay, I think this, so this is the, see the way this M is. Now, if slanted, see the way the W is. So they didn't get exactly. But the idea is still working with the road concept. Roads in Lagos, roads in Nigeria, and that's what gave them, their typography style. They also have, yeah. So that is what this website is basically about. So unfortunately, the agency that next start with today is not here. As it next start with. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I don't know if you're seeing me. I doubt you are, but unfortunately, there's no power anymore. All right. So unfortunately, there's no power anymore. I'm just going to try to wrap up with the agency we're talking about, and then we call it a night, and we come back to next week Tuesday. So basically, this is Sporting Lagos. I think I basically explained how they came up with their logo, their typography, both of the typography systems as well as their colors. They wanted something vibrant and they needed a style for. So this is, I think this is a very good representation of like a well done branding. So you can see like this bold feel that they wanted. I think they still also piggybacked of the idea of working with buses and buses design. You get buses, roads, and all those kind of things. You understand? So that's that for this. I'd like you to check this website out, read as much as you can concerning the brand. I hope this inspired you. I hope now the way you think about design has improved even to the least. You understand? Again, I'm so sorry for the glitches that we've had today. Yeah, finally, I'd like to say if you've not gotten the course on Figma, the one where I'm teaching brand designers how to use Figma, I'm going to put a link in the description. Do all to get it. Thank you so much. Apologies once again for like the glitches, the off and on. Now there's no lights. I'm using like a torch to do this live. But yeah, one thing I know in life is that we keep on going. And I'm going to try to be possible as we keep on coming live. At least next week's live is going to be, let's say, 50 to 100% better. And we see how we can keep on making things better from there. The course is coming out, and I can tell you for the fact it's amazing. We have over 20 people that have pre-ordered right now. When it comes out live, there's been an increase in the price. So it was supposed to be 10,000 naira, but now it's going to be 15,000 naira on launch date. So here this here first. I'm going to put out a publication about that later this week. Yeah, see you guys. I really see that there's a lot that we are going to do, just me coming live. And yeah, if you want to reach out and see how we can live and all that stuff. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm having a lot to say because I'm really tense because of like network issues and everything. But yeah,